everybody? This is Obatier Junquise. I'm joined with my co-host
Jay Flair,
Tiffany Torre,
Trenisha Johnson,
and we are Breauxs and Brews. Hey. And we're actually located at Stinky's right now. That is at 5500 Hilton Avenue here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at the Marriott Hotel on the first floor. And we definitely want to thank Stinky's and everybody up in management, man, from Andy and Brad for having us here and allowing us to do this, this podcast so we can rock and roll. Man, good to see y'all.
man,
good to see you, man.
Hey, man, I hope everybody had a great week.
Great.
It's been crazy.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, man, it's been crazy. It's been enjoyable. So.
Yeah, bro, I needed a brew after Friday.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And mentioning that we are drinking some Abita, which is a local brew here in Louisiana. We appreciate them and love them because that's the whole thing, man. Because what we do here, first off, at Breauxs and Brews is we drink beer, we talk, we enjoy each other's company, challenging. Everyone here is an incredible, person. And it first started with, me and my co-host Flair, where we just used to drink beers and talk about different things, and got to the point where I got a mic and we started recording it, and was like, man, look,
let's do this for real.
Let's do it for real. And we had an opportunity to, invite these great, incredible, beautiful queens here to be a part of it. And not to get it, misunderstood, bro means boy. Bro doesn't means man.
Well, thank you for the clarity.
Hey, and go ahead and clarify that up. But bro is just meaning like just partner.
Homie.
Someone, like someone we can just always call on, talk about different topics and things.
And then we couldn't just talk about these topics by ourselves.
Exactly.
Because sometimes y'all like to throw us under the bus.
We want to give y'all a chance to defend yourselves.
Exactly.
Hey, look, whatever with that. But exactly, because a man is not a man without a woman. So correct us when we're wrong, and we're gonna challenge you, right? And we're gonna challenge and throw out some.
We're gonna challenge it back,
right? Exactly, and that's what makes it so awesome, and that's what the show is all about. And we're just glad that we can, present it and bring, to the people and the viewers who are going to be watching. And I'm glad to have y'all here, man. So we are committed to the crowd. So speaking about questions.
What you got for us today, man?
Pulling out that notepad. Y'all that notepad come out.
I gotta pull out the notepad. But just a few. But let me just start with this one. So if you got a partner, a relationship, it could even be a husband, it could be a wife, what have you. How would you feel if that person said that you wasn't pleasing them in bed?
Oh, you just jumping right into it.
Hey, might as well.
Be the first to say I ain't never had that problem. That's just me, though.
Forget the warm-up question.
Right.
No icebreaker.
We just went straight there. I guess I can leave with that.
Hey, come on, Ms. Johnson.
Listen, in a marriage, forever is a very long time to be unsatisfied.
Right.
And I think that when you are not satisfied, that brings in a lot of different ideas, and I think that's how I don't think a lot of times, but I think it happens where people start looking other places. I mean, because you already thinking you trapped.
Right.
Especially from a man, like men already have that. I'm trapped. I'm with this one person.
Right.
So I think that communication is definitely important in that area. And I think that there's no easy way to say it. Listen.
Right.
It's not.
Listen. Listen, Linda. Listen,
Right.
I need you to do a little bit more and a little bit better. And I think that that's a conversation that you have to you can't sugarfoot around it.
Not at all. I mean, at what point, because like for those who don't believe in, being, or being, right, or divorce and anything like that, like, I don't know.
I feel like at that point, you mean like they in a relationship?
Nah, I mean like, so even at this point you're married, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If your husband came to you and said, look, I don't think that, we need to work a little more on this area. Like, is that at some point where you think like, well, I'm not good enough for this man, so maybe we should leave it alone?
I think that comes with maturity. She has to, like, you got to understand, y'all in a relationship, it's y'all job to keep each other happy, keep each other satisfied. So I don't feel like she should get upset at the fact that he's trying to get to a point where both of y'all could be happy. Because at the end of the day, she wants him to please her just as well as you know, she's pleasing him. So, and at the end of the day, I think that saves a lot of time because you don't want to keep having unpleasing.
Especially when you're committed to this person, right?
Because that's gonna lead to like tension. That's gonna lead to, you know,
it might lead to cheating.
Right. That's gonna lead to other things along the line.
It's like any other problem.
Right.
Any other problem that you work through. I mean, because just like we said, like you were leading to where forever is a long time. That's a long time to be with somebody. So I mean, just because in your 20s, thank you Jesus, I don't have that problem. Amen. But I mean, who's to say when we get 40? That, you know, and you with that person, you're used to that person. So I mean, things have to change. So eventually, you have to have the conversation. I think, like you said, Jay, it comes with maturity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like that change could be fun. Like, you know, when y'all get older, you know, you got to try to spice things up. You know, you got to switch stuff.
Listen, you 60, you can't be still hanging from the ceiling like you was 20. I mean, come on, man. Gotta be honest about these things.
Momo got it. Okay.
You know what they doing at the Johnson, really,
Right.
Hey.
But I think people shy away from that because it's a sensitive subject. And you know, with men, we have egos, so.
I mean, don't know, man.
I was about to
say, if you were in a marriage or even in just y'all relationships, have somebody ever came to y'all and been like, well, you know, you could definitely do this better, or I can show you how to, you know, do this for me.
I mean,
I'm all ears
you
on
gotta
this
take
one.
heed to that, man. Like, you gotta be open, man, and you gotta be more sensitive when you're in a relationship with a woman. So
That's a good answer.
kind of gotta be in tune with your soft side a little bit. So that means you gotta put your pride to your side, you gotta put your ego to the side, and you just gotta take heed to what she's saying, man. Because at the end of the day, that's your woman. If you're not doing something right, fix it, man. Like, that's it. It should be a simple transition. You know what I mean?
Man, I agree, but I feel like
Obi finna come and shut all of that down.
Nah, look. It's more so like, if I'm in a relationship with you, and if I'm not pleasing you in some way, obviously I'm gonna think, okay, it could be something wrong with me. But then also I'm thinking like, it might just be something wrong with you. You know, hey,
you don't know what you want.
Right.
Man, you don't know what you want. But you know, I'm not being, indefensive about it in any kind of way. It's more so like, okay, if I'm not doing this, well, let me see if I can do that. But I never had a woman tell me that I wasn't doing a good job at something. Yeah. It's more so like, you know, when you're young, and you're not willing to do some things, or you know, because you got some, you know, you might not be affectionate enough, or you might not do that foreplay that long. You just jump into it too quick, or whatever that situation may be. So those type of conversations, like, you know, like you said, it does come with maturity. And in high school, you know, that mindset, tell a girl, nah, look, I don't think because anyway, why y'all doing it in high school anyway?
Y'all ain't supposed to be doing it.
Hey, but look, man, I can't. Hey, look, you know, I started a long time ago, but anyway, so it's like, you know, it's like, you know, you tell a young-minded girl that, oh my God, like, my life is over, I'm done. But then you tell a mature woman that she might be like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to do this, you know.
We're gonna work on it tonight, baby.
Well, we're gonna work on it tonight. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you say this way? Okay, all right, you know, I'm gonna be willing to work on that with you. So, hey, that's crazy, man. But see, I got, you know, and the good thing about this show, we all got good chemistry, we all vibe. We're not gonna follow a chart. Let's go ahead and get that clarified up. We're not going 1, 2, 3. We just, you know, ask questions that we feel people want to know, and it flow with it, and speak on it completely, you know, honestly, and, you know, roll with it like that. So I got another question, in which this is a big thing that goes on in society, how, you know, gay rights and things like that is all coming out, you know, being in the open, you know, it's more accepting, you know, for people. Now, first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and say, look, man, I support those, you know, communities. I'm not gonna say those people because they're still humans. Yeah, at the end of the day, the LGBT, you know, community. I believe everyone is entitled to everlasting happiness, regardless if it's 2 men, 2 women, transgender, what have you. But how would you feel if your child, you know, I have a child, you know, you have sons. How would you feel if your son came to you and said, "Mom, this way, I like this," which may be another guy. If you know, you could just imagine if you got a daughter and she comes to you and say, "Dad, I think I'm in the wrong body. You know, I think I should be, you know, this way." You know, or you know, you just have a daughter who wants to date another woman.
Right.
You know, like, you know, I'm gonna just open it up for y'all. Like, how, you know, first Tanisha, starting with you, you know, since I, you know, brought it up.
Yeah.
Like, how would you feel about that?
Wow, that's a great question. I think definitely I would be accepting of my child. I mean, you birthed that child, you carried that child in your stomach 40 weeks. So I mean. Well, I didn't go all 40 weeks, but just saying, love, I think that love has a, love, there is no standard in love. There is no, well, for me, in my child, I think that there's no, you can do this and I won't love you anymore. I can disagree with it 3,000%. You know your mother, you know your father, you know what we believe. However, I wouldn't be, I know that people throw their children away after they come out. I personally know individuals that have been shunned by their parents, cut off by their parents. So it would never be a situation like that. Of course, I don't agree with it. But I agree with it, if that makes sense. That's your life. You know what I mean? Like, who am I to say that you don't deserve what your version of love? Right. That's my take. Yeah, so, you know, I'm going to love my kids regardless, my sons, my daughters, in the very far future daughters. But, you know, I love my kids. I love people in general. So I'm a lover of people. I had a very best friend who was a homosexual. My best friend in high school, homosexual. Right. No hate.
Hey, man, who cares, man?
Who cares?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You know,
who cares? And I think especially by me being in ministry, me being a preacher, I think that people automatically assume that my take will be the blood of Jesus. Right. We're gonna pray, and you know, if you find deliverance, we're praying for deliverance. However, what makes me better than you?
Exactly.
What makes me any different than you?
Right.
We're all human. We're all people. And I think that, and I'm just going to throw this perspective in, I think that as the church, we should become more accepting of people of all backgrounds. Because that's why we can't reach anybody. Because God loves us regardless. Christ loves us regardless. And who am I to say you're going to hell because of your decision, your personal preference? If that's the case, a whole lot of us are going to hell. Because nobody is perfect. Nobody's beyond perfection. So I ain't died yet, and I'm not God, and I'm not Jesus. So you have to give an account for yourself and your life and your decisions.
True.
Who am I to give you hell on earth because I don't understand?
It's what it is.
You know what
it's
I'm
kind of
saying?
just lack of understanding.
Yeah. I love people regardless, and I would treat my kids no differently.
That's good.
I appreciate the fact that we have, like we were saying last time, that we have so many different perspectives. Me, I don't want to say like, I am an advocate. I am an advocate. I'll say that.
And
I represent,
say it proudly.
Yeah, I represent among us. I represent that LGBT.
Okay.
AQ. You know.
I knew it was something else out there.
Yeah.
I knew it was 2 more letters.
It's always stuff popping up. It's like a million letters in the alphabet. But yeah, man, I feel like, unfortunately, I've had to go through the dark side and the good, the good parts of it. Bad parts being that, unfortunately, my dad didn't understand. You know, my mom didn't understand either, because when it came time for me to live in my truth, she was finding Christ. So it's like, you know, there's that tug of war, you know. She didn't know what to do. And I, looking back on it now, because when I was in the thick of it, I, how she don't understand, I'm her child.
You hate church, right?
Not only did it make me hate church, because she seen me, this so wild. This is when I was 16. I'm 23 now. When I was 16, she sent me to the church under the pretenses that I was going to, find a way to combat people whenever they come to me because I still am a believer of Christ. You know, even with being LGBT. But unfortunately, she didn't tell the truth. They were under, my pastor and his wife were under the assumption that I was coming to them to be like, well, I don't want to do this anymore. Wow. So you can only imagine in the mind of a 16-year-old, you know, what am I supposed to do? You know, so in that moment, unfortunately, only thing I could do was go with the flow. You know what I mean? I want my mama to love me. I want my family to love me. I want them to accept me. So of course I'm going to, you know, stick to the rules. But I want to say, fortunately, our relationship has grown. You know, she's become more accepting of me. I just recently, on the first, had a conversation with my dad, and he told me too. You know, his dad is a preacher. He has that calling on his life that he hasn't accepted yet. But you know, even with him, you know, it was just love, and that's why I wanted to tie it back to, you know, when you have a child who may think, because it may just be a phase, y'all, and it may not be. It may not be. Maybe that's just them. It could be a situation to where, you know, they just are screaming for your attention, you know, your love, and that's the only way they know how. But I want to say that if you find yourself in that situation, for anybody listening, just shower your child with love, man. Like, that's all they really want. That's all they really, because if they come to you, if they're brave enough to come to you and tell you some stuff that might tarnish y'all relationship, just imagine, like, you know, the weight that carries. Yeah. So if they come to you, even if they don't come to you and you find out, shower them with love. That's all I got to say.
Hey, Tiffany Torre does it again. I don't need.
I'm sweating.
I don't have nothing.
How we follow up on that?
Hey man, how we follow up on that?
It's almost like a burden was
right.
Yeah,
hey.
Man.
Hey.
I've never talked about that amongst people. So
we appreciate it. We appreciate it. We do.
I mean, I guess we could just piggyback off what y'all said. If that's the case, all you can really do is adapt, because, you know, before your child is birthed, you have this preconceived idea of how you want your child to be. Like, oh, my son will be a basketball player, he'll be a hooper. Yeah, you know, and when
so gonna be a hockey player.
And when he hits you with something like that, you know, he comes out to you, it's like a shock. It's like when someone close to you dies, it's like, oh my God, this is happening.
You're mourning the death of the future that you have for them.
Right. It's like, man, I had all these plans, all this. So it's like, where do you go from here? In that moment, it's like, where do you go from here? So at that point, it's like you got to take a step back, reevaluate, and just got to accept it. Adapt and move on.
I agree.
You know, so.
I agree.
Because I can accept something from you that I completely am not in agreement with.
Right.
I think that's what makes us all different.
Right.
Yeah, true that. Man, because I recently did a play, and they had a scene in the play where, you know, because the character I was playing, he had two twin sons. One, you know, played football and was very, like, passionate about it, and one was, like, more so focused on studies, you know, which you have people. But the one who was very passionate about football and college recruits was actually the one who came out and said that he was gay.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, obviously, like, the character took it hard, but then at some point, he didn't accept it until his son died from, like, AIDS or whatever. So it was like, man, it's a very powerful story and role that I played, so I had to really transition into that. And then I started to think of it myself as I'm reading through the script on a day-to-day, like, if my daughter was to come to me, because I have a girl, so if she came to me and said, you know, Dad, you know, whatever it may be, I want to be a boy, or, or I like, you know, girls, or what have you. At the end of the day, I love you. You know, I support it. You know, because it's a cause. You know, I'm not gonna sit up here and bash you and not love you, because I think that makes the relationship even stronger when, if you know, a person was to come out and say that and you accept them for it.
That's unconditional.
Yeah, it is. Like, baby, look, I'm gonna love you. You know what I'm saying? If you were like, girl, I hope she a baddie, you know, and we'll go from there. Hey, look, but it is. But at the end of the day, you know, like you said, you know, having this preconceived thing, like, of course I want to, you know, see myself in, who my daughter might choose to marry. Okay, I see why you got him. He reminds you of me. He got a gap in everything. Like I'm digging it. Right. You know what? You might be, of course. But if it's not that way, then hey, then so be it.
Everything don't always go as planned.
Yeah, absolutely. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick, break. Commercial. Try to pay these bills. And we'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned with Breauxs and Brews.
Brews, y'all fake.
Exactly. And we're back from break. You're now tuned in with Breauxs and Brews. As you are, guys, I already know. If you're just tuning in, I am your host, Obati Junquise, and my co-host,
Jay Flair.
Tiffany Torres.
And we are Breauxs and Brews again. So I gotta ask a quick question, as I'm going to continue to do throughout the duration of the show. Is religion overrated? And this is, I'm going to go ahead and answer on it a little bit. I feel I'm more a spiritual person than religious.
Agreed.
I know a lot of people are going to agree, disagree, but it's all good. The whole idea of going to church, to me, is a little overrated. The reason why I say that is because I've seen it.
Spit it out.
I've seen it. It's ran as a business.
Okay.
I grew up in a Baptist church, obviously Southern Black church, and I see it ran as a business. You're gonna preach extra hard because you need the funds.
Yeah.
You need this, you need that. I get it. You want to keep the lights running. Got to keep the water going. Need AC. Just say those things. Hey, we're going to pass the plate around for a donation for back to school fund. Got it. We passing the plate around for repairs on the opposite side, or we want to add on this new building. I'm with that 110%. When you pass the plate around and say, oh, show the Lord how much you love him and thank him. Will a man rob God?
I mean.
That's what I get from that. Will a man rob God? Why are you not putting that in the plate? You taking money away from God. You know what? This will be my last time attending.
I'm taking money away from you.
Yeah, that's and that's the way that I view it. Like, come on, man, just be honest with me. I feel like we're all adults to that level. Sometimes you got to fool, because the way that I feel about religion and Christianity, by being the youngest religion that we have, it thrived from slavery. That's what we all coming down to this day. So, in the slave times, you had to give somebody something to believe in. You got to give them hope. And do right by this. Do right by that. So that's my take on it. I'm just not religious. Like, I'm, the everyday Sunday go on, the Wednesday night Bible study, Tuesday night Bible study.
I mean,
because right or wrong with this, and let me make this point. If we're all together here and we step outside in the parking lot and we start praising, isn't that considered church?
Yeah. Isn't it where two or more are gathered?
And so why is it has to be, you got to come to this,
building.
This building, to be considered going to church? I feel like it's all within us. The body is the temple. That's how I feel. So I'm just going ahead and open it up and direct it around. Is religion overrated? Let's go ahead and get it going.
Fight.
I agree with you, brother. And me personally, I'm not a religious person. Mm-hmm. I'm more in tune with like the spiritual side. Like, I believe in a higher power, but I don't believe in religion itself. Okay. From my personal experience, I see how people act outside of church versus inside of church, and it's like,
I'm taking off.
Speak on it.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how you expect me to gravitate towards that when you're not solely committed to what you say you believe in?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And you go faithfully. You go on Sunday, Wednesday, wherever you go.
7 days.
But as soon as you come home, you raising hell throughout the week. You know what I'm saying? You coming home, raising hell in the household. You coming home, and it's like, it's a contradiction. So I can't get with that. And then it's like, in church, you're giving people false hope. Right. And not just that, like, the church I go to, the preacher, he usually makes it seem like it's okay to struggle. And I don't like that. Like, you going, like, he can be like, some of y'all going through such and such and such and such. You just got laid off, or you just got blah 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 blah. It's gonna be all right. Just go pray to God. What you basically telling this person is they don't have to put no effort put no foot forward to,
change their situation.
Yeah, changing their situation. You just say let God handle it.
Hey, look,
let God handle it.
Yeah, let me butt in on that, because sometimes when you go to those, I'm not trying to classify them, but we all know growing up in the South, right? So it's funny how, to me, where when we broke and we need money, the preacher tell us to call on God.
So when he broke and he need money.
He broke and need money from the church, he passing the plate around.
Exactly.
Not saying, it's like I said, I get the business side of it, and I understand it. Just stop trying to sugarcoat it. Is what I, personally view it as. Just tell me, like, we passing the plate around, this is for this. I'm more willingly to do it. But when you try to tell me, you know what, I'm passing that plate around, show God that you appreciate him.
Right.
I do tell God. Every morning I wake, I thank him for allowing me to see another beautiful day. I feel like that's giving my appreciation. And I'd rather take that $20 that you trying to do whatever you trying to do with it and go get that $20 to a homeless person or go feed somebody.
Right. And I feel like there's so many different ways you can sow a seed. You know what I mean? You don't just have to put it into a collection plate.
I didn't know what was going on.
I was trying to tell you.
You know what I mean? You can donate to a basketball team's fundraiser.
Yeah, man, you can do something that's
you can buy chocolate. From the little world's finest
fundraiser.
You know what I'm saying? There's so many different ways you can sow a seed so you can get your blessing. So.
You want to be grand finale, or you want to
go ahead?
Okay, I was about to say.
Because Grandma will give her money faithfully.
Oh yeah, her 10%. Her
ain't gonna give you $5.
But I see both sides. I was about to say I grew up in the church. I kind of grew up in the church. Yeah, because like my mom and my grandma, they grew up in the church, and like my grandma, when she was well, she tried her hardest to make sure me and my sister knew God, and I appreciate her for that. But it's also like she beat it into my mom, and so like when my mom was young, she had us super young. So when she was younger, it was like, the business. I don't want to be a part of the business side of it, but I still, know him. We're still gonna praise him in the household. We're still gonna thank him for the things that we have. But yeah, I see both sides of it, and it's like, I want to say I'm non-denominational, but it's like non-denominational is a denomination, you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel y'all as far as like being more spiritual than religious, but I still know God.
Wow. Y'all don't understand, as a preacher, to hear other people say that they love God, but they hate the church. Because guess what? I've been there. I actually just left out of that season of my life where I was like, God, I don't know where I can find the right church. Like, where is it? Because you see so much, and y'all think y'all seen a lot, but imagine being in ministry. When you're in ministry, you see so much foolishness, y'all. You see so much foolishness. So I am way more spiritual. I love God with all of my heart.
Right.
With all of my heart, with all of my mind. God is where I turn to when everything else in my life, because I know God to work.
Right.
I know God is a healer.
Right.
Because God has healed me before. I know God to deliver. Because when I was suicidal and depressed, guess what? I called on Jesus. So I understand that God is real. Jesus is real. I believe in everything that the Bible says. However, again, like y'all say, I've seen the other side of it. I've seen how ugly it can be. I've seen how pastors can literally stand up in front of people and then go behind closed doors and cheat on their wives. I've seen it. I've seen it. And so I told God, God, I will dedicate my life. Because I am a preacher, the church is always going to be a part of me.
Right.
I can never disown the church, and I believe that God is actually raising up a generation. We've seen the ugly side of it.
Yeah.
We seen it. And so I believe that my call, a great part of my call, is to lead people back to the church that God wants, the church that Jesus established, the church that Jesus died for. He didn't die for what the foolishness we see today.
Yeah.
As a preacher, I can sit here and say that it's we see so much foolishness. You know, I was talking to you about this last week. I just seen how we shun people. We turn people away. I literally, y'all all follow me on Instagram. I literally just said this week on my Instagram, I have better relationships with people outside of the church than I have ever had with people inside of the church, because we're so judgmental. And I say we because I'm a part of the church. I can never disown the part that saved my life, because if it had not been for my mother bringing me to church, now it was up to me to build my own foundation.
Absolutely.
However, I still thank her for leading me to church, even if it was the wrong church. She led me there. She led me somewhere, and I was able to build upon the foundation that I wanted. And so I believe a great part of my call is to show people the right side of the church. I agree 3,000% that church has definitely become a business. I was on someone's, I won't call their name, of course, but I was on Facebook. One of my fellow clergymen, his father died, and he made 2 GoFundMes, and I guess he don't think that we realized it. One was for one price, and the other was for another price. And I was just like, so let me get this straight. You have 2 different sets of expenses for your father's passing, and why are you the person solely in charge of it? It just bothered me so much, and I'm just like, okay. Brings me to another thing. Why is it that our preachers, our leaders, I said, I'll never depend on the church. Me and my house, we're never going to depend on the church. Y'all don't pay our bills.
And that's what it is.
Y'all don't pay our bills. So we have so many leaders who are not successful in any other area but preaching. So guess what? I have to pay my bills. And so I believe that we are in a season now where God is ushering us into a season and into a place where we've seen it done wrong.
Right.
We have preachers that we've seen it done wrong. Me and one of my closest friends, we talk about this all the time. He's a preacher as well. He's a minister. And he always tells me, like, sis, the church is never going to pay my bills. Because how can you focus on winning people if you're trying to win money? You're desperate. And when you're desperate, you will do anything. You'll sell your soul for anything. You'll sell your soul for a dime if you're in need of it. And so I think the problem is we have so many leaders who are only good at church, and they're dysfunctional in every other area of their lives. And it's so funny because someone just told me the other day, God slowed you down for a reason. They were telling this to me. God slowed you down for a reason as it pertains to your ministry, because he wanted everything in your life, everything else in your life to be in order. So he didn't want me to be preaching to everybody else, but my house is jacked up. No, like, just like I was telling y'all, when y'all see me and my husband, we really love each other. We really like each other. We like being around each other. My children, my son, my 1-year-old is the happiest child you'll ever meet. You know why? Because he does not see dysfunction in private. So I'm not about to be preaching to everybody else, and I am dysfunctional. I've seen that, y'all. As a preacher, I sat down. I left the church. I'm talking about last year. I left. I said, God, I am sick of this. I'm sick of people being one way in public, and y'all are the meanest, nastiest people I have ever met in my life. The one thing that literally almost sent me off the edge, I literally had someone say, and they said it behind my back, of course, just trying to come against me and my family. They said, I bet she made that baby before she got married.
How disrespectful. Like...
So we are so conditioned. Listen to what I'm about to say. We're so conditioned to people being two-faced, to people being fake, to people saying that they love God and not really loving God, that when people actually say that they love God, you automatically think that they're lying. I said, wow, so this is what I said. I couldn't even be mad because it's like that's who we've become. We've become Christians in public and demon in private. We're demons in private. We are devil. We exhibit every characteristic of the devil in private. And so I said, God, you ever bless me with a platform, you ever bless me with a ministry, you ever bless me with anything that is supposed to glorify you, God, I will give my life to glorifying you. So I am 100% more spiritual than I ever will be religious. I love the church, and I feel like I have an assignment to bring the church back to its rightful place. Absolutely. Because I thoroughly believe that the reason why we have so much chaos in our society is because we've made the church into a clown show. A clown show, a fashion show. Right. And so there's no other way to put it. Like, as a preacher, I'm grieved. I have been grieved for a while with the current state of the church. But I thoroughly believe that there is a generation rising up of people who say, I'm sick of playing church. I want to come here and get healed for real. I want to come here and get delivered for real. I want to be able to come here and not be judged for real, in real life. So yeah, and it goes back to the point that you said. We can have church right now.
Yeah.
This is church.
The
Bible does say, do not forsake the assembly of fellowship, the fellowship of assembly. And so I believe that, again, you can have church anywhere.
Yep.
Where 2 or 3 are gathered, there will he be in the midst. And so I believe that once we get back to they'll be emerging. It won't be religion. We'll be having church, worshiping God in such a pure sense that it won't feel like religion anymore, because religion has drowned us, and religion has pushed so many people away from the church. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Amen.
And when does our service start?
Right.
We're actually starting next week. We're starting
Okay.
next week.
Really?
Friday, Thursdays is next week. I'm super, super, super excited about it. And again, like I was telling Tiff, man, this is gonna be an environment where you can come in your jeans, your cut up jeans, and just worship, man, and just and have a safe place where people are not judging you. We don't care your background. We don't care who you are, what you've done.
That's
because
awesome.
Here's the thing. I tell people all the time, and I'm only going to say this for 2 seconds because I know we got places to go. But I tell people all the time, I am the most jacked up individual you can ever meet. I'm jacked up. Jacked up. Without God, Tranisha, a preacher, girl, please, this ain't what I wanted for my life. I didn't want this for my life. I didn't wake up aspiring to be a preacher. I didn't wake up aspiring to be the girl that because first of all, people start acting different around you when you love God. Like they say, oh, you love God. People automatically think I'm judgmental.
Yeah.
Automatically, off the gate, just because of what my predecessors have made into the ministry.
Yeah.
So true.
And so people automatically think, oh, I can't bring her today. I have done some of the I don't know. I will sum it up by saying I don't know where I will be without God. And so I will give the rest of my life showing people that you can be as jacked up as you want to be, and God can still use you to reach whoever he wants you to use. Because I've been there. I've been depressed. I've been suicidal. I've been queen fornicator. Do you hear me? And then guess what? I said, God, okay, I don't want to be this anymore. And it was God. It wasn't the church that delivered me. Yeah. It was my own relationship with God. When I came before the throne of God, when I said, God, can you please change me? That's when I experienced real change. It wasn't me going to church every Sunday, because again, like Jay said, this is tying it all together. You have to do the work. Yep. You can't become God ain't just gonna bless you with no millions and you can't manage your 100. The devil is a liar. You can't manage $40,000 and you want God $1 million to fall out of the sky. No, your family is always gonna be broke until you put in the work. Yep. And so we are not equipping people to do the work. We're equipping people to believe that faith, you can have faith without works. When the Bible clearly says faith without works is dead. And so how can you change your bloodline? How can you break generational curses if you are not doing the work? You have to do the work. And so once you get to a place where you're equipping people to do the work of Christ did work. So I don't know when we got away from the fact that we have to do work. Right. So when we start equipping people to be whole outside of ministry, school is not for everybody, but school is for somebody. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so for the people that school is not for, what are you going to do to bring income, to generate wealth for your family?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that once we start equipping people to do the work, then we want to be dependent on their little tithes. I want to get to a place where I don't care if you pay your tithes or not. I'm going to sow $2 million in my own building. You know what I'm saying? The Johnsons are working to become multimillionaires. We don't need y'all money. We don't want y'all money.
Absolutely.
So that's where I stand with that.
Let's go. Sis just gave a whole word. I want y'all to know. Wow. And if you didn't catch it, that's on your body.
Whoever
drinks beer afterwards.
Whoever needed to hear that today, you definitely got it.
Just got a word on this good Sunday.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because I now so feel free.
No seed required.
Because I feel that now, we're starting to raise our children, like this newer generation. We're starting to raise our children to be a lot more spiritual than religious.
Definitely.
It's
because we sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yeah. Y'all go in here and y'all shout Sunday after Sunday, and y'all still broke. How many times can you be broke?
Man, I done seen.
You still broke?
Man, I done seen a former pastor of mine go to church with 5 beautiful kids and his wife. Then I seen him in his sports car with something else. And I'm like,
I've seen it.
I've seen it too.
And I'm like,
unfortunately, he's sitting up there preaching.
because
and yet everybody in the church.
But I will do you
But then
better.
again, like part of it you have to think about, because part of it you have to think they're human as well.
Absolutely.
But I think is one
But
thing.
how can you preach about a Jesus that you have not allowed to transform you? Transformation took place
So
in
you
my
feel
life
a
before
lack
he
of
ever
a
called me.
spiritual relationship causes that type of actions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thoroughly believe it. Now, do we all fall? Yes, because I was, like I said, I was in the pulpit and going out doing what I wanted to do too at a point. However, when I got to a place of maturity, when I said, God, I can't keep going in front of these people, I'm lying. How can I really love you, God? Do I really love you if I'm standing in front of these people playing with them? Because that's really all that I'm doing. I'm playing with people's lives. There is somebody that really wants to be delivered from what I'm struggling with. So how can I convince them that you can deliver them?
Whoa.
You can deliver them if I have not allowed you to deliver me. Like, how can I keep saying, like, oh, yeah, I love God, blah, 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 but I'm living a double life.
Yeah.
I don't want to, but, and I, like you said, I understand both sides because I was at a point where I really did want God. It's just I could not get away from myself. I couldn't get away from my desires. So I think that it is a lack of maturity. I think it's a lack of relationship, a lack of love for God. Because when you really love God, you don't want to make him look stupid. Just like if you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, you don't want to make your partner look stupid.
Right.
How can I really love you, but I keep cheating on you? No, when you really, really love somebody, I want the best for you. I want to see you high and lifted up. I want to see you be the best version of yourself. So how can I want the best? How can I want people to see God when I walk through? But I look like the devil. Like I look contrary to everything that I preach about. And that just goes to personal convictions. Like I don't want to be a hypocrite. I can't deal with myself looking in the mirror, like going in front of these people, talking about you, and I haven't allowed you to transform me.
Right.
I think the greatest, every minister, every person that's called to any group of people, we're all called to a group of people. I believe wholeheartedly with all of my heart that God will use you to transform you. If you really have an anointing. If you really feel like you're called to do something, how does what you say not work for you? How can it work for anybody else? So I believe that God could be a healer. Guess what? So every scar, I tell y'all, I grew up in dysfunction.
Right.
One day I will tell the whole story without people getting upset.
Right.
There are still people that need to get healed in their own right.
Okay.
So I grew up in dysfunction. And so guess what? I said, God, I don't want to bring dysfunction into my adulthood. I need you to heal me from everything that I've seen. Everything that traumatized me. Okay, God, I don't want to have sex before marriage anymore. I don't want to do it. But I'm human.
Right.
I'm human. So guess what? You have to trust God with that. Because I said, God, if I keep having sex before I'm married, then what's going to stop me from having sex outside of my marriage when I get married? Oh, that's a thought provoker, huh?
Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
I said, because I'm human. It all stems from you being human. So I said, God, I want to give my husband something that nobody else has had. And I can't physically do that now because again, I've already stepped out before I got married. However, God, I want right now for you to show me that I can live a life of chastity. Chastity, what's the word? That word.
She's our.
I feel like I can do it, but I can't do it without you.
Right.
And guess what? Guess who didn't have sex anymore until September 17, 2016, honey.
Because there's a lot of us that can't find the willpower to do
Exactly. And so guess what? If he did it for one, he can do it for someone else. And so now I can actually tell you without being fake about it.
Right.
Girl, I've been there. Girl, I know what it's like to late in the midnight hour. Late in the midnight hour and them feelings start coming about. But I can tell you honestly, I don't need any. I've been through it. I don't need anything from you. I don't need a seed for it. I just can honestly stand on the fact because I've seen God do it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Hey. My.
Thursdays.
Listen.
Hey, Thrive Thursdays, definitely. And where's it located?
Yes. Yes, it'll be located at 12173 on Florida Boulevard. Living in the Word International Ministries. I'll have a flyer on Facebook, Instagram, all of that. So it's coming to you next Thursday.
I'm looking forward to it.
6:30. Come out, man.
Man, we promoting everything that each other is going to do. We promoting small businesses that's trying to grow.
Check out them Torre Diaries. The Torre Diary. .tumblr.com.
Absolutely.
And it's TheTorrediary.
Hey,
get it right.
Hey, look,
what do you talk about in your diaries?
Okay, so I interview local artists, and then I also dibble and dabble when it comes to people's albums and EPs. I just give my honest thought.
Legit when you say when I dibble and dabble.
Right.
Do a little bit of this,
Yep.
Right.
But yeah, my next post is gonna be, which is a sensitive topic for most, but the next post is gonna be the best Wayne album.
Okay.
The best Wayne album from the very first quarter.
Card 3.
Man.
To
Card
you
3.
You gonna see the.
I kind of want to have that debate right now.
Right.
Look, what is the best Wayne album,
Give me
man?
some material to write on, y'all.
Man, Carter 3 to me is the best
Carter
album,
3
not
hands
because
Carter
it
3
sold a
hands
million records, but just because,
I mean,
man,
but that's pretty dope too.
it is.
Right.
I mean, it sold a million records in the first week. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But man, you can. I'm literally, because we had the CD at the time. You can literally.
The CD ride.
We ain't
like,
old, y'all, but we
song.
just saying like that, that's how fast technology's
So has
changed.
anybody listen to Carter 5 yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have.
And it's
Yeah.
good in
I
its
have.
own way.
Man, I feel like Wayne never changed. I mean, not saying, like in a bad way.
Well,
Like
yeah,
saying like
he's
great is
evolved.
great.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
he's
saying?
evolved.
Of course he's going to evolve. Of course he's going to go through things. But I was in the barbershop. I just had heard Mona Lisa.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, as everyone else did, but having the opportunity to really just get my haircut and listen to almost every song, I'm in love with it.
Yeah.
I'm in love with the 5. I'm in love with his work. 4,
I think 4.
Shaky.
I'm not really feeling.
I think
how
that's
y'all feel
like my
about 2
least
though?
favorite.
Yeah, 4 is
A lot of people
'cause a
haven't
lot-
listened to 2.
A lot of people.
Or
See,
one,
one,
for that
man,
matter.
A
one
lot of
and
people
2 is
have
incredible.
debated. Like when Carter 3 came out, a lot of people debated like Carter 2. He was harder and he wasn't so commercial and it was
I
raw.
felt 4 was just like he just had to
So
put something out.
is
Yeah.
Wayne the most influential rapper of
No.
our time?
No.
Our time.
No.
Our time.
Nope. Love him to death, and of course he a Louisiana native, so big ups to him. But no,
Most influential
no.
rapper.
I feel like to be influential, you gotta. That's just me personally, though. I feel like you gotta have a good message behind your stuff.
So who is that then?
J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar.
I about to say, man, Cole and Kendrick definitely pushing it like that.
Yeah, they pushing the envelope, and I feel like that's what it's
But you
about.
I don't know. I mean, we from Louisiana. You just want to like put in somebody from Louisiana.
Boosie
Yeah,
Gates.
yeah,
Yeah,
Boosie Gates,
we want to say that.
Yeah.
Man.
But
But like on a
Right.
national level,
But
but
nah.
like on a national
Yeah,
level.
on a national level,
um,
international
Now we talking
level.
about Baton Rouge influence.
I was about to say, no, we can go into the BR
Right.
influential, people.
But like entirely, man, I feel like J. Cole is like, cause he let you know, and then he's showing you like,
Yeah.
man, you don't need it, man. I mean, like it ain't all this that people
Nope.
trying to make it
Yeah.
seem like. You know what I'm saying? Be tuned and fix yourself.
Yeah.
There's never been another Tupac, cause he's like.
Yeah, because he pushed the
He did it,
envelope
man.
and he made
pushed
people
it,
think.
Man, he made the envelope.
Yeah, real
You know what I'm
time.
saying? Like man, beats.
Man, why we beat our women?
Mm.
Why we rape our women?
Right.
Wonder
Take
why.
from our women. You know
Exactly.
what I
Like
mean?
I'm talking about
But now
then
we
he
got
really
people
speaking it.
glorifying like beep beep bop bop.
Yeah.
I hate that HOE.
Yeah.
But then you have these women being sexually objectified in
Yeah.
music videos. So that's another thing that
That's
make
one of them.
men seem like it's okay, or these artists
No,
or
but
others
we-
make it feel like it's okay.
Women, not we. But women have evolved.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. We're free
like,
thinkers
just seeing
now.
Amber Rose have a slut walk, her second annual
The
one.
fourth.
Oh,
Her
fourth annual.
fourth
one.
annual.
And I was just like, yo, this is a thing.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's a thing that it's okay to embrace your sexuality as pertains to being a woman.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's getting in the way because now I get to the point where it's like people just accept it with who they are, and
Yeah.
because
I think
because
our grandparents
we
did it.
We've gotten away from it, man. Like everyone has got away from the church. Everyone has got away with trying to look a certain way.
Yep.
Like I don't want to come off as this because if one too many people say it, then that's how people gonna already treat you, right? Oh, he a male whore. Oh, I ain't I ain't that. But then it get to the point, it's like, man, you know what? Yeah, it is what it is. So I'm doing what I, like you just, you're away from it.
I feel like that's a sign of strength. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Like when you
you
put your flaws on Front Street.
Yep.
Can't
nobody
use
it
against you.
Yeah, I cheated on my wife last month. Yeah, I did that.
I feel like that has also helped us because now you see more people being open about mental illness.
Everything.
Listen, they used to hide it.
Listen, 10 years ago.
Send their kids away if something was wrong. You'll never see them again.
Send you up to the countryside.
Yep.
You ain't normal.
Listen,
they got a place for you.
Ago, there's no way you can get on a podcast, a video, and say that you were suicidal and depressed.
Oh no. Those words were taboo.
What?
They're taboo. But I feel like all of us as black people, period, have gone through something.
But now we can put a name to it because we are honest about where we were. Because at first it was just, I had a rough spot. You had a rough spot for 2 years?
Right.
Yeah.
2 years you were thinking about ways to take yourself out?
Right.
So, I mean, I think that now, like, they were open with other things that helps us to be open about things that are actually important as well.
Exactly.
I agree. Hey, well, look, man, we've been having incredible conversitions. I mean, the women is up in here blasting away today. Hey, man, we got to come back and, you know what I'm saying, and fix it on up. But we're going to go ahead and take another quick break. You're still tuned in with Breauxs and Brews. Thank you, guys. Hey. We'll be right back. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for staying tuned in with Breauxs and Brews. And I'm already, as you guys know, I am your host, Obati Junquise. I'm joined by my co-host,
Tiffany Torre,
Tranisha Johnson.
And again, we are Breauxs and Brews. And first off, lastly, I want to say a special thanks to Stinky Bar and Grill. It's an incredible place. If you haven't been here, it's located at 5500 Hilton Avenue. It's on the first floor of the Marriott Hotel here in Baton Rouge. And I love it because right now we're doing a happy hour. So when we wrap up, I'm going to get some dollar oysters and toss them on back.
Oysters. We were talking about oysters last week.
I love them. But so the last few questions that I want to wrap up with, right? How, and anyone can go ahead and answer it first, but how do we measure love? Like, how do you know that you love someone?
How I used to measure love was by monetary things, by things, period. That's just because that's what I saw.
So in in your mindset now.
Oh yeah, mindset now.
How would you measure love?
Well, one of the ways that I measure love, because I'm just, like we was talking about earlier, I'm just really in tune with my sexuality.
Okay.
I measure love by sex. How much sex we having? Is it good?
Okay.
Are there climaxes? Are there not?
Okay.
But yeah, that's one of the ways I measure love.
The formal definition of love is the intense longing for another person.
Come on, psychology.
Right. Hey, look. Hey, man, that's the doc, man. That's the doc.
The intense longing for the presence of another person. So with that being said, the way I measure love, if I'm always yearning for your presence, your intellect, your conversation, your body, your cooking, the way you smell, the way you look. You know what I mean? That's the way I measure love. Like, if I always need that, if I'm always thinking about that constantly, I love you. Like, you know what I mean? And it kind of is to the point where, like, it gets to, like, it's a need. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I need that.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So that's the way I measure love. So, and your personality, of course.
Right.
So if I'm always yearning for that, if I always want that around, if I'm hitting you up at 3 a.m, what you doing?
Yeah.
I love you.
Is that personality?
I love you, girl.
Is that a personally at 3 a.m.? Is that about the personality at 3 a.m.?
Is that love? Or is that
love? But you put yourself on the spot right there.
Something else.
That sounds like lust.
Man, you see, with me, It's not even in dealing. You know, I know she measures it off of sex. You know, at least one way.
And I want to clarify.
Hey, go ahead.
That's
go
with,
ahead.
Like people that I'm intimate with. Not, that's not how I measure love with my mom and them.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
Obviously, when it comes to like them type of, I measure that love by how I'm treated. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
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 Get it right.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Miss Torres. But the way that I can, you know, measure it, it's kind of similar to what you were saying, Jay. Is I want to do everything for this woman. You know, like I don't look at it like you using me or, you know, it. But it's more so just like, you know, measuring love is like, man, like just being so compatible with this person. Like I'm saying, girl, I love you, you know, and
I love you, girl.
I love the way you walk. I love the way you talk. I love
talking to somebody.
Legs.
Shout out to Obi's Bay.
Shout out, babe. I love the way you walk. I love the way you talk. Legs, you know, lifting me up when I'm down.
Yeah.
You know, encouraging me to do better, and that's how you know that you like. And you know what, like man, this person all right. You know, like you both.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you bae, you dope. You know, it's so. You know me, cause I can even in my own world, I can be very antisocial. I can walk in the room and shut the door. Don't really care who on the other side. But when you love somebody, I want to be in the same house. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to shut the door on you, but I'm gonna just go in the man cave. As long as I know you're in the house, we good. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to like just not talk to you because you don't love that person. You know, that's when you're in love with somebody or you care for somebody. That's like your best friend. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't really go too long without talking to a true best friend, or you really can't go too long without being surrounded by that person. If it's 7 days in a week, at least 4.
Right.
Yeah. It might seem like a lot, but no, that ain't even a whole week. Right. You know, so that's how I measure my love, and how I know that that person loves me. You know, it's reciprocal of that. You know, sometimes men we can get annoyed like between 4 and 5. You done called me 6 times.
Right.
Where you at?
Only 6?
I've never
Like
been
what
that
you
type
do?
of
I'm
person.
talking about phone blowing up. It's like I'm annoyed. Like okay, all right now. Like I already told him I'm trying to get out work and you're bothering me right now. But at the end of the day, you're not annoying to me. Like that's cool. Like you want to talk. You know. So man, that's how I measure it. You know, and then just. Like I guess, I have them ways of old school, like a woman who just feels the same like she want to do for me. Like, baby, you had a long day. Let me rub your feet. Let me fix you this. Let me fix you that because I want to do it for you. You ain't going to do that for somebody who you just got a fling with. You're not doing it for somebody who you just see late nights with. You're not doing it for somebody who you just want to have company when you go sit at a bar. So, man, that's how I measure my love. What you think, Miss Johnson?
Man, this topic here, my heart started fluttering. And that's how I knew I was still in love.
Shout out, Mr. Johnson.
Shout out to my mister. Y'all, this is gonna be cliche, but everything that I imitate in love, I first felt from God.
Okay.
I hate that I have to bring it back to that, but it's real. It's real. Love is patient. Love is kind. I really believe that the way that I knew that I loved my husband was how much was I willing to sacrifice of myself.
Okay.
How much was I willing to lose and become in order so that he can become the best version of himself.
Okay.
How can I help you to become, how can I help you to elevate? Because again, if we're together, there should be some form of elevation. I should help you to become the highest version of yourself. And so that means I have to lose some things. I have to lose some parts of, and I mean this in a healthy way. I need to lose sometimes that I want to always have the last word.
Okay,
I have to lose sometimes that sometimes I think that I'm genuinely right and you think that I'm genuinely wrong, and I need to not. So let's come to a happy medium.
Right.
I have to love you if I'm willing to sacrifice what's natural to me, so that you won't be less than, so that you're better after this argument. Because every day is not going to be peachy, and I can't wait till all of y'all get married because I'm gonna ask y'all all these same questions. I'm gonna say, oh, y'all still feel like that?
When they get married.
Because what marriage will do is, and I tell people this all the time, marriage is designed to make you the best version of you. It won't make you happy all the time. It's designed to make you holy. It's designed to make you look more like God. And so the love that I have, and I always say I'm a better woman because I'm loved strongly. I'm loved strongly. My husband has seen the worst of me. And the fact that he still wakes up every morning and wants to spend the rest of his life with me. First of all, who wants to spend the rest of their life with Tranisha? Like, are you crazy? I remember talking to him at the altar like, you're nuts. You got to be crazy. Because I can be a mess. We all can be a mess.
Right.
And so having someone that is willing to see you at your worst. I'm talking about your real worst, not the worst that you show people, that you tell people. I'm talking about they have to live through it, that you post about. I'm talking about you can't hide it. You know what I'm saying? The dysfunctional parts of you that come out sometimes. You know, the part of you, like I said, I came from a single parent home. What my mother said was law. So, okay, going into adulthood, naturally, I'm a strong woman. I don't need no man. So I have to love you past the part of you that feel like you don't need me. Ooh, I have to love you past the part that you feel like because you were raised in a single parent home that you still in a single parent home. No, you have a man that can help you, and I don't want you to be embarrassed because you have a great man.
Right.
Like, and so it's learning to be the you that you're not comfortable with. But it's beneficial for that person, and I think that's when you really know that you love someone, that you're willing to lose whatever you have to lose that's unlike the great part of you. You know, everybody sees the cameras, everybody sees the glitz and the glam, everybody sees like, oh, Tranisha's this, Tranisha's that.
Everybody look good on camera.
Everybody looks good on camera. You know what I'm saying? In my case, everybody looks good behind the pulpit. You know, so he has to see the part of me that's rejected sometimes. He has to deal with the tears that, you know, people may not see. Behind closed doors. He has to deal with the fact that sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough.
Right.
You know, he has to deal with the part that, you know, I heard what they said, babe. Why are they saying this about me? So he has to deal with the fragility. He has to deal with the Clark Kent.
Yeah.
He has to deal with Clark
The
Kent.
person.
He has to deal with the person. He can't see Superwoman all the time.
Right.
I'm not super all the time. And then vice versa. Again, we're talking about love.
Yeah.
So how can I expect that from him? You talk about reciprocation and not give it back. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that I loved him when I knew every horrible thing about him, everything that's distasteful, everything that made everyone else leave. I say that all the time. I can get emotional about that because I've lost so many people in the last 2 years of my life. And everything that made other people turn away from me, it made him, he pulled me in closer.
And that's what a man who loves you does.
And that, I think, in moments where I really was losing myself, he allowed me to stand on his shoulders. And I am forever grateful. I am forever indebted to that man.
Hey.
And I'll forever give everything that I can so that we can have health.
Say, man.
Health.
Praise
Going back to
God.
what you
Hey,
said.
shout out. Hey, man, you know, we might have to invite Mr. Johnson one show, man.
Yeah, no, going back to the whole, I feel like that's another way of how I measure love is when I tweak my natural, or when I peep that you didn't tweak your natural instinct. Like, and because words are so powerful for me, because I am a writer, it's like, I know in my last relationship, that's one of the things that I learned and what I appreciate, you know, about them is that they showed me something that I didn't realize, like how you talk to people, your tone, like, you know, because my mom, sometimes, you know, she wasn't feeling it. She talked to me and my sister any kind of way, and it's like
y'all clean.
Natural for you.
It was super natural for me to just bark instead of reeling myself
Been there,
in.
sis.
Real talk, like reeling myself in, and literally just like the simplest questions and statements that like a word or two literally can make the world of difference. It can show somebody that you're not trying to be combative, you're not trying to be defensive. You know, you just want to be heard. But yeah, that's another way I measure love is tweaking that natural instinct.
Hey, that's how I say, you know, you love somebody, man. When somebody like change the way that you act,
the way you think,
like that's like you will just react or flash in any type of manner, but it really make you like, you know what? All right, you know, like your whole life, a man so dominant or whatever, and then you get that woman like, boy, you better cut that grass before you leave this house. Like, you better cut that grass before you leave that house. Like, okay, man, whatever. But you like,
I'm gonna go ahead and cut it.
I'm gonna cut the grass. You know what? Because I love this woman. You know, like it.
You adapt and you evolve. So
listen, real is
but
rare, man.
But do you feel like more men and more women settle because they just want to be in love.
Yeah.
I personally know people that have settled by who they married.
That sucks. That really
And so
sucks.
now you have to spend the rest of your life with this person that you settled for.
Settling.
Yeah.
I've seen
in
it.
every aspect.
To say you married, you settled. I've seen it with my own eyes.
And I think when you say that you married, man, ain't no settling.
Right.
Settling is like that boyfriend girlfriend.
Real talk.
I'm not
I
saying that
agree
it
with
don't
you.
exist.
I agree
You know,
with you.
but it's
shouldn't
like
exist.
ain't no settling when you married to this person.
Right.
You just spend thousands or however much money you just spent to marry this woman, even if you didn't do a big fancy wedding.
Right.
You done made a commitment
Before God.
before God to
and
be with this
the
one
government.
person.
Because honestly, when you get married, that's a business move.
Yeah,
That's a power move.
absolutely.
You take on all their debt.
Absolutely.
You know, they take
you
on
talking
all
about
yours.
you settling?
Ain't no settling with marriage.
And you just don't want to be alone that bad.
That's sad.
You know, which is gonna
With
bring me
that,
to
they just like the idea of marriage.
Especially
Right.
in this social media, man. I literally posted this a few weeks ago. My husband's birthday was on September 24th, and I literally was talking about how in the beginning, y'all seen Kayvon and Tranisha, y'all seen us, because I wanted to show people like this. No, real love exists. I wanted to inspire a generation that real love exists. You don't have to settle. And then as we started to mature, I said the world is so overexposed that literally you wouldn't have the discernment to understand if we're real or if we're fake anyway.
Yep.
Because we live in such a generation that it looks real.
Gold.
It
Everything
looks
just
real.
look
Everything
real.
looks real because nobody's posting their failures. Who's
No.
posting their failures? And so we want to be Kanye and
Posting
Kim. We
how
want to
their
be
husband
B and J.
Right.
Like
Nobody.
nobody knew when B and J
Nobody.
was going through what they were going through.
You heard about it
know what I'm
after they
saying? You
handled
heard-
it.
You heard about it after they handled it. But guess what? Everybody's still saying B and J was goals. So you want
They
your
found their
husband to be
goals
with
too?
Becky with the good hair? You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Real
So
talk.
it's just like we live in a social media area where everything looks good. We want to people are getting married to post pictures of the wedding.
Ooh, I had to learn
Nobody
that
knew I was
hard
getting married
way.
until September 17th. Like people knew I was engaged, but people didn't know like the date when it was happening. I just
Yeah.
popped up in a wedding dress because you know what? It's just like
I saw
don't-
that. And
I want to make sure that I'm doing this for us. Would I be happy? Y'all, I say this all the time. If I moved to Africa, didn't see none of y'all for the rest of my life, didn't have no social media, didn't have none of this, all of this could be taken away. I will follow that man to Mars. I really would. If it was just me and him.
Yeah.
If God would have never blessed us with offspring, I love my kids, I love Carol, I love Kason with all of my heart. But at the end of the day, I will follow my husband with nothing. He could have nothing, and I will follow him to the ends of the earth. And I think that we are in a generation now that I'm marrying you for what you can give to me.
Of course.
And so until we get beyond that, until we get beyond self, if you can't get beyond self, you don't need to get married. Like if you can't love that man, because guess what? There are highs and there are lows. Last year, I can talk about it now again because we're out of it.
Yep.
Last year, I kid you not, 2016, my husband spent $6,000 in 2 months. 2 months.
Ooh.
And it was because he didn't know how to manage money. So I stopped working, and he couldn't manage money properly because again, his daddy is an engineer, his mother's a teacher. He never had to learn, how to operate off what we were making at the time. And so $6,000 in 2 months. 2 months. 2 months. And I'm just like that. And if I didn't love him, that would have destroyed my marriage. What? Because the number one reason why people are getting divorced is because of money. And when you're a newlywed, newlywed, $6,000 is like,
that's money.
what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's because my love for him. Like, okay, money comes and money goes. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? I'm not marrying you.
Ain't like you
so
can
we
take it with
have-
you.
Exactly.
Right.
You can't take it with you. You know what I'm saying? So we're literally going back to what I was saying. We're literally getting married for social media. We get
Really?
married supposed to.
Everybody just want to be in love. Everybody want to post that ring, but don't nobody really want to go through the hardships of it.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why we are not seeing 50-year marriages. We're not seeing 60-year marriages. And guess what? Everybody that's getting married ain't going to stay married.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
always beautiful. It's beautiful
They
to
want the
say that
wedding.
forever.
They
We
want
want
the
the wedding, but we don't want the marriage. We
It's
prepare
ridiculous.
for the wedding, but we don't prepare for the marriage. I talk to people all the time. Did you go to marriage counseling? Okay, I agree. That might not be everybody's thing, but
Yeah.
I thoroughly believe you need to get counseled.
Yeah.
You need to learn some things outside of yourself that you don't know, especially if you don't come from a family of successful marriages.
I think people tend to, lean on counseling when it's like we were saying, when they're going through something.
Exactly.
So y'all went to counseling
before
before
premarital
y'all-
counseling. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I
that's
need to
good.
get all of
Premarital
this stuff
counseling.
out of me that I'm coming into marriage with.
Yep.
I'm coming into this marriage with rejection. So guess what? And guess what marriage will do? Marriage is going to show the real version, the authentic version of yourself. You know, all this stuff you hear during dating. Yeah, I promise you, I ain't never heard my husband raise his voice before we got married. We got married, that argument got bad enough. Yeah. Where did it come from?
Right.
I didn't know you could talk a lot. I'm naturally a loud talking person. I'm like, oh, my husband. Baby, we started getting into them years. Yeah. And I heard that voice raised for myself. Right. You know, who you? So guess what? Okay, so it was always there. It's just you were able to hide it because sometimes love really is blind, and that doesn't always mean have an unhealthy definition. But sometimes you just love that person so much that you don't want them to see the ugly part of you. But guess what? When you living with somebody every day and life starts happening,
it's gonna come out.
It's
all
gonna
of the secrets, man. That's like the worst part to me. Like, because you keep so many things hidden. Because you never. Sometimes, and it's an unfortunate thing how you don't know if, like, your fiance, your wife, or your girlfriend who you planning on marrying, what she's been through, because she's never opened it up to you. So then you kind of realize her actions is like, you know what? This is why you're acting like this. You know, like, or this could be why you acting like this. Like, at what point did you feel like you couldn't tell me this if we're getting married? And that's how I feel, man, because I done heard so many men, even in my family. Man, be careful of who you marry. Yes. Make sure you know who you marry. Yes. And it's like, well, man, this chick been dating for 3 years. I think I know her.
Oh, no. You learn.
If she been putting up a facade them whole 3 years.
Like, exactly. Even shacking.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all can be living together. You can find out if she nasty, if she clean. You think you know everything. Then y'all get married and going through every single day. You can just do something and it just... everything comes out. Because
marriage is spiritual, and that's what we don't understand. Marriage is a God thing.
Right.
So if marriage is a God thing, then we can't have the God benefits of it until we get married. It doesn't matter what we're doing before we get married. Marriage is going to bring out everything that's lying dormant on the inside of you, good and bad. That's why when marriage is done right, it elevates, and when marriage is done wrong, it hinders. So, because guess what? Okay, you were great. You were great while we were dating. I never... Listen, because life starts happening. When life started happening just with me, because you're a person outside of your marriage. So when life started happening, my husband started to see a whole different person. I can literally admit that, not, horrible things, but I started being different. Yeah, it was a little different because I was so engulfed in what was happening outside of my marriage. And sometimes, especially when you're a newlywed, you can't separate life from marriage. You don't learn what you learned. And what you learn going forward is what's happening on the outside. You don't need to allow that to infiltrate what's going on the inside. Your marriage is your safe place. That's my safe place. Okay. And so marriage brings out literally all those things that you tried to hide. I promise you. Even stuff that you didn't know was still in you. Right. Like, I didn't know it was in me to still, I still got a little flash out in me. Because the whole time we were dating, it was like, okay, he made me mad. Let's just talk about it. And then you married and you start getting kids into that, and you like,
you get overwhelmed.
And he just like, where's my sweet little praying on the floor? It's like, when did you start doing this? And because life starts happening, man. And so even you, like, I was surprised. There was some points last year, that I was like, dang, I didn't even know I still could do that. Right. So I mean, you learn a lot about yourself. Right. You learn about your ability to have long suffering, because that's all marriage is, and you're making a decision. You're gonna be hurt. You're gonna be hurt. You're going to be hurt. They're gonna be, because you and your spouse come from different backgrounds. My husband is a natural communicator because he's seen marriage. Right. He's seen marriage. His parents have been married for 20 years. I've never seen marriage. I've never seen it. So I'm literally the first. And when you are the curse breaker.
Oh yeah, I've been a curse breaker. When you're the
curse breaker in a certain area, I have not seen a successful marriage in my family. Period. And every woman, I hate to put this out there, but every woman in my family has cheated on her husband. Except for maybe one, my grandmother. Love you, Granny. But every woman that I've never seen, and my mama just left it alone, period. My mother never has even been married. Yeah. So I never seen healthy marriage. And so I am the first. When you are the first to do a thing, it's harder for you. Because who did Noah go to and ask, how do you build this ark? He couldn't ask anybody. And so when you're trying to build an arc, I'm trying to build my arc. For me, my arc is marriage, successful marriage, till death do us part. One of us got to die. We don't know divorce. Yeah. There is no such thing as divorce in the Johnson house, and that's easy to say, but you have to live it. So I'm having to live through my confession, doing the work. I can have all the faith in the world, but if I'm not doing the work, okay, and I don't want to be like, again, my grandparents' generation, they were just staying together because you had to be with them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be there. Women couldn't do anything. So I am trying to have a healthy, yes, with no job. Where you going? So I want to have healthy till death do us part. And when I stand over that casket, amen, because he's going before me, I'm joking. when I stand in front of that casket when we're in our 90s, I want to be able to stand in front of that casket and actually mean everything that I'm saying about him.
Yeah.
So.
Right. I mean, and that's powerful, and I think that's one reason. You know, so me just on the outside speaking in, he loves you hard because he is really a task.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just with any woman.
Right.
But doesn't it make you want to love that woman?
So I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Doesn't it make you want to love that woman harder? Who you know that you can see it. We can get to where we got to go.
But even can I flip that? Even when we don't see it, because for the first time in 5 years. I think last year, 2017, I said it's easier to walk away from this.
What?
It's easier, and people don't want to be honest about that, and that's why because we can't have those transparent conversations about marriage because everybody wants their relationship to be goals.
Absolutely.
Trinisha is gonna tell y'all there was a moment last year where I said
it would be so much easier.
It's easier to just walk away from this. It's easier, and so. And this is where having people that you can confide in because you talk to them and you realize, oh wow, people are going through worse. People are going through much worse. And so there's going to be a moment in every marriage, and I'm sowing these seeds into y'all now. There's going to be a moment in every marriage where it's easier to walk away. Right. But it separates good marriages from great marriages. We overcome. Not only do we overcome, we move forward, and we come out stronger.
And why is it that while y'all dating, everything gravy? The only thing changes is the last name.
The enemy does not fight covenant. The devil does not fight covenant. I mean, pre-covenant. But the enemy don't like covenant because guess what? When we walk into covenant,
y'all strong.
We're strong. Covenant can change things. You know why our black men are so out of whack? Because we don't have the camaraderie of marriage. Strong families are birthed through what? Strong marriages. It all begins with marriage. It all does.
They only breed broke people. That's so true though.
Ooh. Girl, you just said something. Let me sow my seed in you. You know what? And I agree with that 3,000% because my mother, as much as I love her, my mother raised me to. You don't need to bend on no man. Blah, 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 blah. And then, but what happens when you actually find a man that loves you, that wants to provide for you, that wants to stand in position?
You gotta push him away.
And you push him away because what's natural for you is
be by myself.
Okay, my mama had me outside cutting the grass. My mama had 3 daughters. I'm not kidding y'all. We were outside cutting the grass. Yeah. We took the trash out. We did everything. Yeah. But we were never taught how to be loved.
I can do bad by myself.
We were never taught that. And you know why? Because my mother has never been married. So that was she does not know that love does exist. That's why it's so
key to exhibit that, especially in front of children. Seeing love, seeing health. If y'all got to argue or dispute, take it somewhere where they don't know it. Obviously, they're gonna know these issues when they come of age. It's like right now, man. Any type of arguing, any type of disagreement that goes on, children are not supposed to be present and will not be present.
3,000%.
I don't care if it's just. You need to take the clothes out the dryer. Whatever simple, however simple you try to make it. Man, but I hate to rap, man. Man, it's been an incredible show today. And as we're gonna continue going forward.
A couple more questions,
but go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, since we was on the topic of marriage and love and everything, I wanted to ask, what's y'all love language?
Oh, mine is definitely words of affirmation. And what was it? It was words of affirmation, and it's not gifts. It's because what are they again? Because it's only 5 of them. It's only 5 of them, but I know for sure.
You can pull out your phone and look at it.
I was about to say, I know for sure.
Hey, you can pull it up right quick.
Yeah, I know for sure one of mine was words of affirmation. Just because Because I said before, like I'm a writer, words are important, so
Absolutely.
I want to, it's not enough, not even unfortunate, it's just not enough for me to show me that you love, you gotta tell me, you gotta constantly tell me, you can't show me, that I look beautiful, you gotta tell me also. That, damn, babe, you look good today. Like,
I mean, and that's so incredible. It's like, cause you can, kind of do like the small things, and you feel like, oh yeah, she know. Like, I washed the car, I cleaned it out for her.
But sometimes that washing the car to her, because you didn't say, babe, I love you, so I'm gonna go ahead and wash your car. You know what I mean?
Wow,
The simple act of you doing it sometimes, it's not enough.
Yeah, because she could be like, why he doing that? What he did?
Exactly. What he did
What
wrong.
he done did.
What he did
Or
wrong.
what if it's just like, babe, look, I don't want you to ride around in a dirty car.
But that's love.
But
that's love.
That's love.
That's your love language.
Yeah.
Right.
X is your love language.
Mine, yeah. Mine's the same, yeah.
The acts.
Like doing.
Yeah.
The
Receiving
verb
gifts.
Oh, action.
Acts
Okay.
of service.
Acts of
Acts
service.
of service.
What's the rest of them?
It's acts of service, physical touch.
Physical touch and words of affirmation. If that don't
affirmation,
explain little,
and receiving gifts.
if that don't explain little.
Wow.
I am queen of physical touch.
Yeah, I know. Real talk. Sometimes
I might be the king of receiving gifts.
See,
Because the thing that I have to
and
say,
it can be little stuff,
and
but
about that is like, if you drink beer
but what
or
if you're a
I
bad
fish,
gift giver?
but see, me,
it's impossible with somebody like
I
him.
feel like it's the
even
fact that you tried.
Yep,
but
the
see,
fact
it's the
that you
small
tried.
That ain't me.
thing. But see, it's the small things. So I love to fish. I love to hunt. I love outdoors, right?
Yeah.
I went and bought you a shirt that you can wear fishing.
Oh, that's
Like,
love.
that'll
That's
warm
love
my
to you.
am love.
Come on.
So
man.
what
I
is
had a
your
long
love-
day
what's
at
your
work.
love
Like I
language?
tell you, I had a long day at work.
Gifts, acts, and words of affirmation.
For sure.
You
know,
know,
like-
I can't get with that gift thing because one year I got a can of chicken noodle soup, and it was because I loved chicken noodle soup, and he just thought it was the best thing in the world, and I was like,
I mean,
Try
it was a
again.
corny. It was a corny
Try
gift.
again.
when-
Try again.
It was a corny
Feelings
gift.
like
Try
that.
again. Try
I played
again.
it off real well. I didn't
No,
tell
you
him until
didn't.
years later. No,
Oh.
I'm serious. I didn't tell him until years later. I
That
said,
you was
why
dead
did you give
wrong.
me chicken noodle soup? You thought it was okay
Aw.
for my birthday?
Somebody might be like, I want boiled seafood. And they're like, I'm hungry, I want lunch. I
Y'all.
go stop and get you some boiled seafood.
Ooh, that is another.
I didn't
That's
really
not even a
want that.
love language, but like
That's the key to your
food.
heart.
Real talk. Like you take me to go get food. You take me to go get
Her
crawfish
eyes
in the
got so
summertime.
big.
Yeah.
You give me a snowball and I didn't ask for it.
Girl,
you
your
give me
eyes
a
are
four
huge
for,
right
You give me a 4 for 4.
Oh,
That's love.
four.
That's love.
Yeah.
all right, I got you. We gonna go to Wendy's when we.
No, I told you my mom got that ropes, girl.
Man, it's been incredible, man.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah,
another
yeah.
amazing day of Breauxs and Brews. And man,
Y'all
shout
down bad. I was drinking, man. I couldn't.
Breauxs and Brews. Hey man, just then again, man, a huge shout out to Stinkies for having us here, located at 5500 Hilton Avenue. Come get you some oysters, raw, char grill. Come get
Some good H2O.
some good, come get some good water. They gonna keep it nice and cold for you. Come get you some brews. This week, man, today, man, we were on a beta.
Peter Amber. Yeah.
A beta amber, man.
Real
Like
smooth.
it's great vibe, very professional. Very, caring people. They're gonna tend to your needs or whatever that you may have. It's nothing but professionalism here, and we love it. That's why I come, and that's why we're here with the podcast, and we're gonna continue rolling with it as long as we can. Man, a huge shout out to our video man.
Thank you for being patient with us.
E, we got you back there, man. It's incredible, and I hope that this is a partnership that we can have moving forward, continue to grow, and as long as this grows.
Yeah. And it
Jay
will.
Flair, I appreciate you. Tiffany Torrey, I appreciate you.
Appreciate
Tranisha
you.
Johnson, I appreciate you. You guys helping me with something that I wanted to put out and made it into something. I thought it was gonna be 2. It's 4.
Then there were 4.
I thought it was gonna be 30 minutes. It's almost 2.
Yeah.
Almost 2 hours. And it's incredible. But
It's incredible.
it is. I love it. I gotta say it all the time. It's incredible. I want to quit working for other people and just do this
Same,
full time.
same,
That's and so
same.
forth. And
You will.
absolutely.
You shall.
And hey, so let's all look in. Just say thank you to your viewers.
Thank you.
That-
Appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Don't cry,
we're
brother.
You know I get emotional,
You
man. You know I get emotional, right? And we're signing out. We want to thank you for tuning in into our very first annual. So this will be our anniversary next year.
Yeah. What's today? October
Today
7th.
is 10/7/2018. It's incredible. Breauxs and Brews, we appreciate you. I am your host, Abatier Junquise. I'm joined by my
Jay
co-host,
Flair.
Tiffany Torre.
Trinisha Johnson.
and we are signing out.
Hey.